And he said, "You're right. Going baller every night." Every night for the past 12, 15 years.
Here at Hmong Insights, we are committed to providing knowledge and fresh information from our viewpoint to empower the Hmong community to form their own perspective on their culture. We recognize the existing negativities surrounding our culture and aim to transform the environment. Our podcast seeks to clarify misconceptions and offer valuable insights for the younger generation, while also working to preserve our cultural heritage. We recognize that certain topics may be sensitive, so we kindly ask everyone to remain open-minded, as our goal is to promote positivity and understanding.
Hello, This is Hmong Insights, and I'm Susan.
And I'm Pania, glad to be back.
Hi, I'm Daniel.
Well, today we're going to be talking about ancestors and how we worship them. And it's not just us or but other Asians and other ethnicities. They also, revere their ancestors and like ancestors said, they still have a ongoing relationship with the ancestors. So, what do you all know about ancestors?
I honestly don't know a lot, but then I'm excited for today so we can learn about it.
Okay.
And then I know that ancestors, they affect us a lot. They still affect the living and they play a vital role in our lives.
Okay, well, to start off, who is an ancestor?
Great place to start. An ancestor is a family member that has passed on. So some people believe that ancestors, we think about like great-grandpas and great-great-grandpas, right? But it can even be like a sister, a niece, a nephew or so. But they'll pass away, unfortunately, right? But they'll pass away on they become an ancestor. So it doesn't matter the age. So ancestor, a family member that pass away to suit. But we are a patriarchal, right, culture. So which means that they worship our dad's lineage, right? The guys that so we worship our dad's lineage. So big ladies worship or from our husband's side now, because so that's how we kind of switch, or people get a little confused. But other ethnicities, sometimes but for when we get married, we switch on to our husband's clan.
Mm-hmm. And then just to clarify for the guys, we're born worshiping our eternal ancestors, and we continue to do so until we pass. Forever,
until you become an ancestor. Yeah, so, because and then the ladies we marry out of our clan. So then that's why we change, but then the guys, then they stick to their same ancestors, yes. Mm-hmm. There are two terms, I should say. One is ancestor worship, and the other is ancestor veneration. And so it's basically the same thing. You're going to see the definition online a little bit different or so if you look it up, but I'm going to use it interchangeably. And these terms mean to have great respect for your ancestors, and just like worshiping them, right? So we give them offerings to please them, and we ask for favors, for protection, right? Because we believe that our ancestors are still living in the afterlife. So even though they'll pass away, Beichi believe that they'll pass away, then that's it. You're dead, you're done with. Mm-hmm. We actually believe that they'll pass away, they're still living. And because they're in the spiritual side, they have great influence on. So for example, let's say, hey, I want a baby or a child, you can pray to your ancestors and lama buy you. Or let's say you're going to go and take the SATs. You're you taught your ancestors to buy you, right? So that's why we have offerings and we have favors, and so that's why we worship them, because we want to respect them, and also we owe it to our ancestors that we're still here, because they are a war-torn, ethnicity. We've been through a lot of wars, so our ancestors have been through so much. So we're here because someone survived, and that's why we're here. So being shaito with your ancestors, and they have a lot of power and play over us.
Yeah. Well, tapping into that, and then we have briefly just talked about that, right? But what in the instance or an example of a same-sex marriage, like in particular two men getting married, in that scenario, then who would be the one to worship the ancestor, or which side of the ancestor would they worship?
Oh, thank you for being inclusive.
Yes.
I like that question. I have had gay clients before. And so let me use a case to better answer or illustrate, your question. So I've never had a case where both of them were Hmong. In the cases that I've dealt with, gay, like ito yung Hmong ho, ito chi yung Hmong na yo. So usually, no, the Hmong person, they'll just no, and like okay.
Oh,
They're a gay couple, but the Hmong the is our practice by her religion, or to keep his religion, and then so no nu yin tu tang sika la on nang liu no so ko yin ba like sika and everything. So it wasn't hard because it was obvious that the other the Hmong so nu convert. So, but it would be hard if both of them are Hmong because, then they would kind of have to pick and choose. Like, do we both and then which I don't recommend because it's like double the work and it's complicated. So usually what they do is they just choose one. They just choose one or ancestors. Okay, the other one just kind of like goes in with him and his clan.
Okay.
So that's how I've done it in the past. But I've seen people where to ancestors in Loche before, and let me explain. So, for example, so they live in Minnesota. So what I saw was and they had a 3-story house, right?
Okay.
So what happened was the main level, and then so what he did was he went down to the bottom level and kind of said, hey, this level is mine, or so I've seen that happen before too. But not usually with the same-sex couple, Nikki, that's been how we kind of navigated that situation. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, can you elaborate more on the different ways that we worship our ancestors as Hmong?
Monkey, what we do for our ancestors is like that. So whenever we have like an event, like your nyalo, like something that we celebrate, anything like that. So like that. So the word like that, it means to call the ancestors to come and eat, right? Number 2, we also like fix their graves. So in the living world and also spiritual. Did you guys know that? Living and spiritual. So they're like out here if their grave site nu Chizongola, or sometimes buried back in the old country where animals destroyed by nature itself, or people or animals. Then we fix it. And the spirit world likewise. Number 3, we give them offerings. Probably during like New Year's or New Year we can give them money or things like that. And also number 4, so usually when the person passed, right? So up to 3 years after the person passed. But it's not just for people that pass. A lot of people actually are surprised when I tell them this because they don't see it anymore. But Beijia isn't only for the deceased, it's actually for the living also. So you have or someone, an elder, and that just like, or probably you just want to go home from Lona. So the elders actually believe that and then so we all know that while they're living during New Year, elders. So Beijia is just not for the deceased. We actually do it all also for the living too. Normally, obviously, there's a hierarchy, and we always do it for elders. I'm gonna answer this question already before you guys ask. So, Beichia, it's never for like a 16-year-old or something. It's always an elder. Okay. And also, we call them for protection, right? Whenever they're going to move they always like call the ancestors like in household guardians call protect while they're going to go out of town, out of state, or out of the country. And last but not least, when we do rituals such as things like that, so Le Ying call the ancestors. So it's all encompassing, and those are the times. There may be something that those are the main categories that they like worship them or revere them.
Okay.
And for these, the frequency is different, right? So it's not the same across the board for these different ways that they worship the ancestors. It's like certain ones we only do once a year, certain ones only when it's needed, and then others we do it like you said, where every time we go by Jajakitle, Bichotyan, things like that. So it's a different frequency.
Yeah, so that's a very good point. I'm glad you brought that out because Bema, we've existed like 50,000 whatever years, right? I'm pretty sure it's more than that, but so far the evidence right now is 50,000. So no, we're more. I like to think of it as like more free thinking. So the frequency is when you need it. Yeah, like as needed. Basically, every Saturday, no, but you all in all, your ancestors. No, we don't do that. So New Year, it's normally about the same time, but everything else, it's like, when do you need protection? That may not be every day, or it may be every day, right? So you have to go holiday day, and you have to, you're a truck driver, and you drive for 3, 4, 5 states, and another, so that person may call every day or so. But for me, if I'm just at home, like I don't need to call my ancestors every day. So another situation, the frequency, it will change from person to person. How your rituals normally like whenever right? Or for example, majority of us and then we don't do it again unless kafi. That's a different story. Right? Just things like that. So the frequency is different from person to person. Yeah.
Okay. And then for Hakupecha, like I've seen it done when the elders are still living. When they pass, where do they do it and how do they do it?
Oh, okay. So, it's kind of like during the funeral where so you for Hmong. So when the pass, they actually go to the grave site. Have you guys seen it? Oh, you guys haven't? Okay. Okay, so let me backtrack that. So what happens is the person passed like let's say a year or whatever, and then the first year the second year the third year, which is the final year, and then they different. So whenever the people automatically think about that and not necessarily when people are living.
Okay.
And it doesn't matter how old they are. Like you order for. Well, actually, my clan does.
So then it's done at the gravesite.
It's done at the gravesite.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
we did it for several grandpas and my own grandma and other things like that. So it's been a long time. This year, I remember the third year being bigger or different. It's been a long time, but yeah, and being a kid, the first time I did it, I was probably only probably 6 or 7. So I was just like, wait, this is not at someone's house, right? And then so we're at the cemetery. Yeah. So it was very different. Good, very different experience.
When doing this ritual, you want to make sure you do it right, especially because it's at the gravesite, because you don't want to start calling and then call the wrong entities or spirits as well, right? So there is a certain way, and
So I'm glad you brought that point out because I call it the Hmong attitude. Because Hmong attitude is right? And that's why a lot of the younger generation do things and then sometimes there are severe consequences. But and you don't do it right, because they know that there are consequences. But me included, I'm born here. But anyways, the Hmong attitude is so hopefully hearing our podcast and learning more and more that people are more careful and actually understand. And usually those who leads these sort of spiritual rituals or so, okay, and the key word is usually so then 英语去炒的英我要了当然 tell like the law ma is like okay to know to that cover be good the usually it's him ke yo chu yo abe to mo ko ko to bo bao了 ma to no cho cha ma to no ma li na so ni jona pe mo mi ka na pe je search I can do this like that. So like the law they're a lot more careful. So I want to caution the people out there that and this will be for another episode. But like or and because and they've caused a lot of issues, meaning people's lives are at risk. That and yes, and it could have simply been avoided if this person because you didn't know how to do it, or this person because you didn't know how to do it. So if the youngsters or the poor and all, you have to go and you don't know, please go ask your local and at least understand it first before you do anything. Yeah.
So in regards to the grave sites then and with ancestors then, do they ever need fixing of the grave site, or whether out here or in the other world, and how does that look like?
Yeah. So you bury I kid you not. Sometimes they just bury like right there next to their home, or you bury anywhere. But so that's why they understand this question more. How they can know it may be hard to know sato because it's at a cemetery. Like right?
Yeah.
They mow the lawn and stuff like that, so we don't do anything. But yes, not your grave site in the older country, you have to call family it gets messy, dirty. Animals are gonna come, all that stuff. So you do okay. For example, if you like bamboo, whatever, or like just weird stuff growing out of the grave. So if you're the direct descendants, right, then you can't fix it or clean it up. So they ask someone else. Whatever other last name but usually it's someone else or but it's okay. And you don't want to be the direct descendant because you have to go let's say but the descendant they can look and
and then when you say it's the ancestor of that grave that did that person. Yeah. So sometimes now, like I've had cases before where the ancestors spikes and then so one of the brothers like tried to and then his brother and then he just passed out, so it was because he needed fixing and then they go and then have someone else more calm, but his brother's just like, oh, okay, started doing this, and then so talk a shit up. If you see, even they cannot, right? Because sometimes school more they like you more like mushroom, even in this country too. So you the name was shy, you see, just think don't touch it. Now I go to okay. Yeah.
I see then. And then just going back real quick too, how would you fix that in the afterlife then if they ever need fixing?
Yeah, so yeah, the lechima tamang lean and again usually being chi fix all. Okay. So normally yeah the well that's where this is for another episode, but that's where new data comes in. But it's okay because new data on a kid thing actually goes and kind of fix it. So new data it's actually required for joy matu. So you judge matu and get you all. Original this my job matu and no they owe each parent a cow or so the with the new dana so during tanang like lo telemons or more common chief but usually no we don't really do it in the spiritual world. Yeah, but topic I mean normal people can't, right? So you big it's in yes, you big it's in whatever it is that so we're a war torn people, so a lot of times have you guys heard every single one of them fixed their ancestors, okay? And audience, if you're listening and a little please fix it if you haven't. No, so like things like that in the spirit world. Okay, no, you see meaning the descendants because the ancestor they're not resting in peace anymore. Yeah.
Is that like customized to their liking? Like they're like, I want this mansion or whatever, or it's like a very standard how everything looks like?
Yeah, it depends on the shaman. Sometimes I listen to them and basically it's like very basic or lamutosu and everything. I like to, when I do it, I like to kind of give that leeway to the ancestors. So if the ancestors want like a 3, 4, 5-story house or whatever it is that they want, so I kind of cater to my clients. So the answer is it depends on the shaman.
So I want to bring back the discussion to the gravesite. I see a lot of people visiting gravesites and offering food and drinks, the deceased's favorite foods and drinks, right, on their visits. From your perspective as a shaman, when someone offers food and drinks like that, what happens on the spiritual side? And is there a certain way to do it?
Okay. Should I tell the truth and scare people? No.
Yes. Always.
Okay. Well, Hmong believe that so obviously the person that passed like do move on and reincarnate like the move no for ancestors they only know like so as humans we our loved ones here, so we connect as hey this person is resting here. The Shima as a shaman, I only see that as flesh and bones there. It's no longer the person because the spirit I call it the dummy spirit, and forgive me for not having a technical term, but because the spirit the recognize because its main purpose and main goal is just to yeah, so the when the body decomposes or it's no longer flesh the spirit okay, I'm done. I'll go on its merry way to wherever the spirit that reincarnate so so I want to make that known. So it means that sometimes they give offerings, like burgers or whatever it is, to loved one. They're not there anymore. So who do you guys think are eating and getting your stuff? It's the wild wandering episode 4. And I was just kidding. Which is true. Yeah. It's the wild wandering spirits that can't move on. That probably even evil spirits or whatever that's lurking around. That's like, ooh, free food. Because it's almost like us offering like free food for all. Yeah. No. Obviously, you have to change a Linda, but it's been, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, sometimes even like a year. So, I know people said that no, my grandma's still here, my dad is still here, but sometimes they're not there anymore. So let me talk about some cases that I've experienced in the past to kind of better illustrate this. So, for example, they're not related, they know each other, by the way. But unfortunately, both of them have the same Hmong where both of them lost some. So, what happened was, your favorite food, and then one day, Lady A, and she fainted. And then Lady B, by the way, they don't even live in the same state. But Lady B, she just started hearing scary noises and started calling her names, right? Her name. And then so both of them got scared. And so they're like, oh, why is my son haunting me? Like, how dare him haunt me? And I said, that's not your son. That's not your son. So every day it's the wild spirits. That's knuckle that said, oh yo, right? Or like, oh, who is this lady like disturbing us, So it wasn't her son. Right? So, everybody be careful, no, because, like a cemetery, everybody's next to each other. It's not just our clan. It's not just one, right? So then be careful out there, people. This happens a lot, actually. We don't talk about this, but this happens a lot.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so then if that's the case, like, what would be a better way for the living to give offerings to the deceased,
You mean
to
you
their
don't?
loved ones?
You mean you don't want to go to the cemetery and get scared?
Yeah, I don't think anyone wants to
Not
get
after
chased.
that.
And hear voices and a better way, and most of the elders do know this, is besides light out, right? That's the way. But you want to give them offerings. What you do, you have to go, you're not married. You can do it inside, or if it's your husband's, ancestors, inside. But you can do it outside. But nowadays, a lot of people, they just do it outside, because, living situations and, it's complicated. So what you can do is whatever it is, like a salmon, let's say it's that burger or that chicken or whatever it is, like a salmon, actually so I find it that is more. That's just a better way, and usually on the lot here or sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not, and sometimes they don't get it. Like all these wild spirits just like and especially she or he is very mellow. Like sometimes I would see. I know I'm trying to scare you right now. No, I'm kidding. But sometimes me seeing that offering. Like they just kind of sit back and watch while everybody like so that type of spirits is more afraid to come because it's where the living is, and the wild spirits it's like inside you got ancestors, household guardians, so you got or you got ancestors, you get a little lot. So like it's just more protected that way. So I find that that's a much better way than going to, let's say, the gravesite. And I actually have a niece and her husband, like every year and everything during his birthday or death anniversary. So this is something new that the youngsters are doing, because or whatever. We don't really do that. And so again, I mean, it's fine. You have to take us all for yourself, because you're grieving. That's fine. But again, just remember, you're opening doors for other things. And if you don't know, please watch episode 4.
Okay, then out of curiosity, then for your deceased, not yet do you think some people, or do we still do it where like we put a portrait of the person in the house with flowers around them?
Oh, okay. I see where you're going with this. Yeah, normally like we're from China, majority of the people do not do that, and it's unheard of. They're gonna be like, "What are you talking about? Like, we're not Chinese, we're not Thai, or whatever,
Yeah.
right?" So in family all the but typically, that's not common. So typically, ancestors we believe in the separation because so that's why they think that okay, grandpa's here all the time, and we don't do that because they believe in the separation because if your ancestors are in your house all the time, as humans, we only want them to come when we need them because all the time. You have to fix them. Not only that, they become really needy and dependent on you. So you have to go watch it so they can like cause you to be sick. So let me, use another case of mine is that this lady where she lost her husband and she called the ancestors every single day and she would cry and cry and cry and cry. And so then the ancestors started coming around her and she started hearing things around the house and she went to other shamans, monks, and she worked on. And she came to me. So I said, well, I see that you're the reason why you're hearing that and your things are happening. And she said, me? How's that possible with it? Don't you call the ancestors every day and go and you're saying, oh, Dine, because you guys took away my husband? And she said, yeah, that's true. So then after that, she admitted her wrong, burned paper. We did a whole little thing for the ancestors and everything completely stopped. So that's why in our culture, we don't believe in having ancestors in your house constantly there. You only call them when you need them. Remember that, people. You only call them when you need them. Yeah.
And then I've heard of a story, or I know someone who had a similar experience where they had a dream that their father came back because I guess came and hugged him, gave him a big hug, and then when he woke up, his back was hurting a little bit, and so he couldn't figure out why his back was hurting. So he kind of brushed it off. Woke up, started his routine. And then his wife was like, why do you have that on your back? And it's on his back like someone hugged him. It was big and red, like actual handprints, right where someone would hug you. So,
does he call his dad?
I think that person does, because, they've been separated for a long time and then the dad passed away. So, sometimes maybe he'll call, right? So, we want to be careful how often we call. And then going back to what you said earlier, when you hu your ancestors to Kanong, there is a certain way to do it. And or speaking to the audience, right? Maybe
speaking to the audience.
Yeah,
right ahead, Daniel.
Yeah, there is a certain way to do it. So you don't just want to do it. You want to talk to the elders or someone that knows. Because
remember that.
So once they come and they're done eating, then you have to tell them that they should leave and go back to where they come from.
Right. That's really good because sometimes when you don't do that, then they kind of linger for like days.
Yeah.
So but that's for another episode, right? So yes. If you're going to call the ancestors, you should only call them for helping you to, or helping you with your situation or protection, or even help me get through the sickness or anything like that. But you shouldn't call them to come and look on. So let's say you're like, oh, please come and help me get through this court case or something like that, right? But then, or go get through. But you shouldn't call them to So you have to mom, I miss you. Please come and give me a hug. Let's say, in the spirit world, you have just spirits or caress like, hey, means I'm still here. Then it actually causes you to be in pain. I bet he was in pain, wasn't he?
He was.
Yes. So it actually causes pain. So you te nemo cho na tsang je shi you ne you see you ba you ya mo la na ke ni sa ho lo lu no you te you yin jo lo you oi share you ko te you su to te ni protection ke hey we mo ke dai ba you lu no lo ba po it's okay this one. Ni sa te go o mian jo chu na lo ko ne ha lo no ke lo ko lo ba plu ne ke ne you chu mo su. Okay. So yin jo lo ho叫保佑子孙 or ancestors law protect you so go okay.
So in regards to ancestors, Nala, we talked about worshiping them, right? But why are they so important?
Oh, ancestors? Well, when you really think about it, like ancestors, they're family members, right? So you have to let you have family members. Like, well, then, well, if you're not family members and I don't know you, well, then you're not important, right? So, like, I have to know you in that, like, family members. So, ancestors, number one, they're family. Number two, you have to, well, whatever it is that they're going through, if they're not able to rest, or anything like that, and they need to be where they need to be, they have the right to come and longkong. Or as the descendants, right? So then they're very important so that if we give them offering, and they're living well in the spirit world, then out here, more successful, prosperity is easier within reach. But ancestors, it actually affects us a lot out here. So that's why they're very important, because just like families out here, right? If I'm in need, I do reach out to you, friends to you, but right off the bat, you think about your parents and your siblings, right? And if you're going to borrow money, most of us, we don't go straight to our friends. We're thinking about our family members, right? So same thing with ancestors. So that's how it is. So that's why they're important, and I have to emphasize this, if something or wrong to the ancestors, they can come and wipe out a whole clan. Wow. Ancestors are that important. So like the Laoran, they know this, the elders totally know this. So that's why and they don't want to change anything, because they've seen before that one change can kill a whole clan. Okay. The Hmong and y'all. So they call Hmong attitude, right? The young people nowadays are like, so what? That's the Hmong attitude. It's because yeah. So the ancestors, they matter a lot because of that.
Okay, ancestors. Now, if they get upset, then you talked about that. But what if they need help? How do we know that they need help?
Yeah, ancestors, they always give signs all the time. But people don't pay attention and they kind of shrug it off. Ancestors, sometimes all right? Like, let's say like a common cold, right? Normally you should get over by within a couple of days or a couple of weeks or whatever, right? But sometimes it's like 3 weeks and you still have a cold. Like, 3 months and you still have a cold, or even 3 weeks. That's kind of long, right? And sometimes people like call for the whole year, and I'm like, it's summer and you're that sick, like, things like that. And then that's like the small level. So sometimes they're like, oh yeah, clan or we as humans usually can't create that much negative or dark energy. So usually or that's a big warning that the ancestors need help, because your ancestors long gone for so many years and generations that they can't do anything else but really you so that so that to get rid of. And why? So let me ask you too, why do you think that ancestors that are unrest and that they need help now, why do you guys think that the living?
What do you mean by why did they choose?
Like, why don't they just keep on like and then why, like, after a while they just go, let me give them negative energy, the descendants. Like, why do they choose that? That's what I mean. Okay. Have you thought about it?
No.
No, I haven't thought about it. If they continually hurt that person, right, then eventually, if they don't get it, they don't want to keep hurting the person physically until, the eventual outcome, because they still need help, or that person to help them, right? Okay. So then the shoe just creates that environment where other stuff will happen.
Possible. But the ancestors, they decided to do that because like aches here or some, us humans were great at being in denial, and we're great at saying, "Oh, it's the weather. Oh no, I slept wrong. Oh no, I think when I had a burger, I had beef, right?" And so what ancestors would do is, oh, okay, you want to play this game? Okay, I'm gonna draw negative energy so that now it's gonna affect your life, and we're go like something out of the norm that for go and go believe that it is so weird that you will finally admit that it's us and that it's no longer the burger that you ate 3 days ago that's causing aches and pain. So that's why they do that. Because I get a lot of questions like, well, if that's my grandpa, that's my ancestor, then why are they doing that to me? Like, that's evil. And I was like, well, because they Kalo for 80 years now. Right? So that's why they do that.
Okay. Well, Danielle, going back to science, other than aches and pains, do they come in physical forms?
What do you mean?
Like, for example,
like signs?
Yeah, signs like that.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, aches and pain or longkong, right? And the other signs are like dreams. They come in dreams, and also they can actually even come as like gumbo insects or animals and things like that. So let's talk about the dreams first. I'm excited now. So the dreams, it's an ancestor dream. And all the elders know this. Every single elder knows this, but let us inform the youngsters, right? Now the like it's very windy and and you're like, oh my gosh, it's so windy, right? Normally that's the ancestors talking to you saying, hey, there's something wrong with us, like fix us, So those are that's a very, very common dream that those that dreams about that. Okay. And sometimes they flat out come and go, dude, fix me, right? Also, because you guys aren't getting this, I'm just going to come. No more symbols, right? And another episode, we'll talk about dreams also. But, as dreams, we know that sometimes it means the opposite or sometimes new fufani or whatever, right? So you kind of have to be skilled at it to be able to decipher dreams or to read dreams, right? So, dreams are and also animals or insects. So on the very common ones are like praying mantis, moths, butterflies, things like that. And sometimes it's like what animal or insect and it means something to go. So let's say you and your mom like loves dragonflies, right? If they want to come and visit this or sometimes like no ancestors and they can like no, right? And so if I had to choose, I would say that ancestors no. So every single time like a bird comes and hit your window or bleed everywhere, but yellow, and things like that, right? That's the ancestors trying to warn you. So ancestors, because they are a family and they're protecting us and guiding us at all times, they're always giving us signals and signs. Yeah.
So it's just like them trying to tell you something bad is going to happen, right?
Yeah, for the birds. Yeah. But if they themselves need fixing, it's a little bit more negative. Where sometimes people would tell me that like these are huge flies, and like but they'll just like kind of swarm on one door. Or things like that, or so usually that would be ancestors also. I just had a client not too long ago where they needed to fix their grandpa because the grandpa they got killed, right? And so she called in and then they said they were gonna fix him, but they decided not to. So then the tunya that wanted to fix it basically started having all these huge flies on their back door, but they have a screen door. And that has never happened. They lived there over 20 years and that has never happened before. So things like that automatically tells you that, that is ancestors trying to say something to you.
Yeah, that makes me think of a story like when I was young. Me and my brother were at the park and a bird had pooped on him, right? And he eventually grabbed a leaf and wiped it off, but we were still young. And we looked at each other like, what just happened, right? I mean, first time for us. And about 1 week later, he was riding a stationary bike, like an old stationary bike, you know, like metal everywhere, chains, open chains. And he was pedaling. He tried to get off and he slipped and he cut the back of his foot close to the Achilles. It didn't cut the tendon, but it cut the skin there. And so I had to go to the hospital. But, you know, if we knew, right, like with the bird poop, we would have said
You
something.
would have died.
Yeah, we would have like laid low, not be so naughty. I mean, we were young boys, little kids. Who knows? But maybe we would have told our parents, right? And maybe,
You didn't tell your parents?
I don't recall that we told them. I don't remember.
Okay.
Yeah, so talking about ancestor fixing, what types of reasons would it be for you to fix an ancestors then?
Okay, yeah. So to fix an ancestor, basically they passed away due to problems or issues. And also if there's something wrong that's still keeping them attached to life here. So let's say, they drowned, right? That's before their time. They're not happy that they went that way. Let's say they got into a car accident. Let's say there's an accident at work and they passed away. Let's say, God forbid, but, I had a client where and then things like that, right? So then, you have to go pass away for a good time in the law, you do share you just so then you would need to fix them. By the way, all the elders know this. All the elders know this, and especially passed away during the war, right? Or right? So many of us have so many family members or know someone that they're like, yeah, I have a brother, I have a dad, and disappear. Well, yeah, probably you should. It's this long. You should probably sign him with it, whatever. There's no way that he's still living, So and that's very common with because that's what happened during the Vietnam War. So, no ancestors 嘅樣樣的，有一啲嚟住攏講聽，有一啲no good low pass away peacefully and during their time, then it's okay. But if not, yeah, you have to fix them. And sometimes people tell me, no, they died of a natural death, right? We don't know that. So there's this case where they found, well, actually there's a lot of cases, but let me just talk about this one case. So they found passed away now, but he's really young. And he doesn't have any illnesses, right? So then you pass away or it can be possible that an ancestor right? Things like that. So it's never just like due to a natural cause. Now again, you have the okay, possible, yeah, there's a but you do pass away. Now there's something not right about that. Yeah. So some people they're no, they just don't accident get and I was just like, wow, okay, well, you need to know, so you need feeling though, I can't force you guys, but if it was me, I would look into like, okay, you go to do not bake your song, there has to be something there. Yeah.
Yolita, then how do you fix ancestors then?
Ancestors, it depends on the case, right? So generally, and it's just not always like ancestors like dragon lady said, hey, let's go with me, and he said okay, and then he's gone. I really don't know, right?
Yeah.
So case, so if it's something like that, then I would go and retrieve his soul and or let's say died in a car accident, or and someone killed him or her. Chị có yêu chúng hai blonde ta chị có trong blonde tiệt ta chị có mà cho mà sanu muto you know wherever he or she needs to go, right? So depending on the case and what it is, whatever it is that the ancestor the Nina, then we do it. Or let's say nilu chain yo a you know, this happens a lot in Thailand where we have more shy like your ton the refugee camps and mo cho or jay cho or no dana, right? So then with that ancestor they go to mo call lu jay or nola. So what is it that they need? So lolo the codes don't, like a lot of people don't understand. But the codes they only think of the fixing the house part. They don't understand about all these other things that because we're fixing your deceased relative. That's all that it means. And but do you guys see how like we just make it real simple like it's so different because someone in an accident and wanting their house fixed is very different.
Yeah, varying different levels, different ways to fix, and you really have to be able to communicate with them, right? It's not just like a cookie cutter thing where you're just
not at all
going through your ting, going through the steps, right? Like you still need to do that, but then you still have to pay attention to like the individual cases. Pretty much.
Yeah. Sometimes when people ask me about and then they go, hey, is it true that if you just know the words, you can just fix anybody and it's like the same thing over and over again? And I'm like, in a way, it's like the same places that you go to, but, and this is just like, because someone's different, right? Okay. So let me just talk about a regular fixer-me-upper. That's what I'm referring to. So in the same places you do go. But for me, every case is so different. 17 years, I've never had a case exactly alike. And like, some people make it as though you can just like pay, right? And like, and I don't know how they can do that because everybody's so different. Cater to the person that not all of us go through the same thing. So even though it's the same type of I don't do it the same way because it's so different.
Yeah, I like that attention to detail. Right. You
have to. I'm thorough. Have to. Because and I believe that we don't do it justice.
Yeah.
Because everybody is depending on so if you're not that thorough, then in my opinion, I don't want that. I want someone who's thorough and who will take care of things for me rather than, fix me upper and I can just play a tape or something and I'm done. No, I don't want your service then. I want someone who will take care of my issue. Yeah.
And so it sounds like on the levels of difficulty, Kutsutong would be one of the harder levels, right?
Oh.
And within Kutsutong, there's the varying degrees of difficulty as well.
Yes, with everything. So the type of nang and also the level. It's always different depending on there's a lot of variables. So it's like more categories. The more variables hold it up and down there. But nang zong would definitely be the harder cases. And so I don't recommend any new shaman to be like, okay, this is my third name. Like, let me call its own, right? Because it's very difficult. And remember, ancestors have so much power over the name that you're fixing. And sometimes it may be your own, right? And so one wrong move, you can kill and wipe out a whole clan. Or if you do something wrong to the ancestors, they may come and take to leader or to or anything like that. So fixing ancestors, okay? That's why the elders are very afraid to call its own. Because they're like, okay, well, we're not sure because call and then everybody pass away, God forbid, right? So that's why try calling out and ancestors go to and work with the family so that you for sure understand the situation. So to there's no guessing game. Because it is very scary. You know, like, sometimes people bother. I get this all the time. Oh, your câu nâng is so easy. Câu nâng yêu nhiều luôn liao. Cái nó有啲前面嘅個我度能嚟講嘛，有嗰度能撈咯，我嘛我我都肉出個。I was like, gosh, 原來問題個有冇早起到你嗰啲，嗰時我說了嘛，個已經少了有。But yes, definitely, like 有能之中 is, I mean 有 like. 有他能嘅靠之中呢，facing the ancestors is very hard, especially those ancestors that have killed people. Yeah, it is very, very difficult and hard. Yeah, if you appreciate it, it's
Me too.
And I want to add this too. Every single time, no matter how easy or hard, our life is at risk because one wrong move. And, you know, me personally have seen a couple of people that, you know, and then later on passed away at the hospital. One more. So, you know, yeah, everything. It's really hard.
And then I've seen cases of like Tanin Kutsonaya where the shaman comes and does it wrong. And that family, something happens to that family right away, right? The same day, same hour. Someone will get injured, someone will roll their ankle, just walking, right? You know, the Zanang is still doing it, and they're just walking, right? They're just walking outside, and then they roll their ankle.
We might have to blacklist that.
So then you have to be very careful, and you have to make sure that the person knows what they're doing. Okay, so for the cases where the ancestors have killed, like
he wants to come.
Okay, what makes it that much harder, and what kind of things do you have to do, and how do you get that information?
Okay, so like ancestors that, let's say, you know, Lo died during the refugee camps and let's say now Lo Mocho or Jing or whatever. So what it is I just fix the home and I just move him or her, right? Super simple. I'm done. I'm basically done, right? But if you so let me talk about this case that I had, okay, so we see where we're going. Okay. Are you ready?
Yes.
So I've had this case where to sum it up, their dad and their grandpa told you know, bangna, which means they're soldiers. And so they went to this village, Hmong, and all these subgroups, you know, living in that village. And so they weren't sure if they were, you know, an ally or an enemy. And so a few of them, I forgot how many, I thought he said like 5, 6 or something like that. But like your soldiers know, just wiped out the whole village. Wiped out the whole village. And needless to say, they were pretty cruel to some of them too. You know, so I don't want to, you know, talk too much about what they did, but they're very cruel to that village too. And more living soul, maybe more people. So he never spoke about that. And all of them, including his dad, so him and his dad and the soldiers, they vowed never to speak about that. So so that's why you're having, because so with him, but then like he'll have these rashes and then it goes away. Rashes and it goes away. And it was just like really weird. And all these other symptoms, it's been too long, I don't remember, but it's really weird. And so he cried and he said, okay, like what? Because remember they vowed, right? So I said, it was during the war and I don't know, but didn't Jonah and all of them are accusing you of doing something to them. So I don't want to say the word, but do you know what I'm talking about? And he cried and he nodded. And then he admitted that all of them died, and he's the last one standing, by the way. And then so I was just like, okay, so I'm done, right? So then his daughter, after that, because that was fine. So I was like, okay, woohoo, I'm done, right? So then his daughter was like, no, you have to fix it because like no one has seen that before. And new daughter, and so she's like, how come, like, we don't even know that. And so we more a lot of 90. So I was telling that more you go tell someone else because I can't do it like next week. Want to do it like this week or tomorrow, right? So that's why I can't do that. So long story short, finally agreed, and then I was hesitant because as a shaman, going more morals and ethics too, and then that really struck a chord and like hurt. Go there, wow! If someone did this to a Hmong village, like I would be upset too, right? And then so, but I took it on from her. Because the kids plead and cried, and so I did do it. So because their father because and then too, right? So then it's like we'll call their living dad, we'll call her grandpa, whatever. So that case is harder because now you deal with blondo now. So you have to be very skilled. And so especially when you represent a client that's how so like if you're the defendant's lawyer, it's a lot harder. People you have to go through plaintiff. It's like, yeah, let's hold it, come on, like they owe us, right? But when you go in there saying, I know he's killed. Like, how do you reason that? Right? I know he wiped out a whole village, and they weren't even sure. They did this and that to women and children. And like, how do I justify that? So me as a woman, it didn't sit well with me. But then at the end of the day, I thought about, okay, this is someone's father, someone's grandpa. So Linda, but it was really hard because you had blow. And do that got you high go zone got do got lo chao lo long gong and then after go turning the dana because no long go and he said, you're right, going baller every night. Every night for the past 12-15 years, and no ni chinya ka hon day lo this man baller every night. And like do lo nya the za ni no ji lo go no, like sometimes he says little fingers or whatever. Wait, this is not a scary show, right? Like where are we going? So I'll stop with the details. But so numa lena, but his children chipao. No, even his wife. Chipao no. So Tokomo walking in and the other chilling thing, and I promise after this I'll stop, is that this type of case is a lot harder and also like kind of scary. I don't know, I was very young, and so because in the spirit so they were taunting me. They're taunting me. And then so finally I said, hey, calm down. So as shamans, we help spirits and also the living, right? So we're in the middle. So we hold the spirit world and the spirits and also right? The living. So I said, hey, calm down. Like, why are you guys doing this? It's not necessary. So I was talking to them and I use that word lightly. Like, you try to, hey, go all these scary voices. Like, you hate me, you go, ooh, like that. They were actually doing that to me. And being like a shaman, I was just looking like, this doesn't scare me, right? Yeah. And so now that I think about it, during that time now, wow. Okay, so for like close to a week, and I was like, okay, like, what is it? Like, just talk to me. And then so they came and said basically, and based on all because so that was their reason. So I told them, I was like, I have to be very I'm not gonna come in and say that you guys are the evil ones or whatever. Like after I said that, They all disappeared. And I was just like, oh, I can rest for 2 days, until go on night, right? So
And they can get a sense of if you really mean it or not. Too,
oh yeah,
right?
they can
'Cause
totally
you can't
tell and
really
mean it.
lie because they know.
No, that's one thing. Na katoko mo nang or something spiritual. Not like everybody knows everything. So you go down and they're like they call your bluff out right away. Yeah. You can lie all the time, and sometimes even people know, but they don't call you out. Like they know.
Yeah.
Yeah, they know.
Okay.
Yeah. So no more scary stories, right?
I know.
So then, how are they different from other spirits or other entities that you deal with? Like, as far as like the behavior, or is it a range where like some will be more aggressive and try to scare you versus some are more civil
As ancestors.
as ancestors versus like other entities or spirits that you
I would kind of like to say that they're similar. I mean, it depends on the type too, right? But I would like to say that they're similar. That's why we use the word spirit like in a vague, broad thing, because the whole personality. Yeah. So I find it that majority of the ancestors they're still similar. The thing, what happens is that become a spirit. They don't have that ego and that pride anymore. So as an ancestor, they're still like that. Yeah. So ancestors depend on personality. You have to go to ancestor very mellow. Okay, well, when I go deal with them, then they're very mellow, right? But if your grandpa was like, like, well, yeah, when I go talk to him, I'm going to have to deal with that. Yeah. So ancestors, called personality, it does still kind of carry out when they pass on too.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, well then going back to fixing ancestors, then after you fix all of that, right? Do they eventually leave you alone and go away?
You mean the ancestors that need help?
Yeah.
Yeah. So your ancestors they need help. If you guys fix a toe, and that's the key word, toe. They're done, and then now they just come and support you.
Yeah.
Support you. Right? So that's why sometimes so it's not that no work. It's because maybe it's like multi-layered, and so for example, let's say and then he's like, wait, I still need help. I still need help. So that's why sometimes they're like, hey, I was like, because you guys went and fixed his house and he killed a whole village, right? So ancestors, it's not something that you fix every year. It's not something that you fix every 5 years. You fix once, it's a done deal. Yeah, so some of you that wrote me and called me and texted me and says, my parents are fixing our ancestors every year. Either you don't understand or something's up. You're not supposed to be fixing your ancestors every year. Yeah.
That's probably a deeper meaning.
I got to talk to them. We have to pass on this information. You should not be fixing your ancestors every year.
Okay. Well, then what for y'all to fix and they go away? What about y'all let you fix and they don't want to? Do they still go away?
You're talking about the deceased one, right?
Yes, like deceased. Do those ancestors that need help go away?
No. Because, and think about it, they'll be upset or angry. So, I need help now. And then go, go call Panya, or I'm just going to take Panya to eat. And go change. So, for example, you have the ancestors, go call a you think your is going to be like, it's okay. I'm happy that they're going to make me wait another 50 years. Even though this person just passed away 2 years ago, I've been only waiting since 1968, right? So, of course, they're going to get angrier. the negative energy is gonna be stronger. Because go choose right? They're not gonna be happy. So and they don't just go away. So can you guys kind of guess why they don't just go away?
They need help still.
Yeah, and how can they track you guys? Do you know?
Blood.
Through blood.
Through blood. So it doesn't matter if you convert into another religion. It doesn't matter if you run. I mean, Earth is round, so I don't know where you can run. Right? They will eventually find you sooner or later, and they're gonna come after you because they need help. Yeah, you can't run away from ancestors.
Dang.
Yeah. Scary thought, huh?
I know.
Hey, I didn't want this episode to be scary. I thought it was just going to be informative.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then what happens if you don't fix them, right? So like if a family doesn't fix the ancestors, is what happens over the generations? Are there certain things to look for?
Yeah. Something very good is the negative energy. And normally, shaman after shaman after shaman. Oh, yeah, your clan, you guys have too much dark energy. That's definitely a red flag, right? So, for example, if it's that first generation, so, we're war and torn, right? So, or even my dad was in the war, no? Past when first post, they might dream, shoot right away because they died in death so bad, but then everybody still knows who went, who passed, how they passed, So first generation, start with shoes. The second generation with some ancestors, right? It'll be a little tad harder, where the beat wall like low more and then the negative energy, it gets like a lot stronger. And then by like the third generation, they start to like bait paw or bait palette. And they start to you can so it's like almost everybody and you're like, wow, like that can't be normal, right? I pay you to eat all to say or something. So normally that's an extremely red flag that at least because that is not normal. And by the way, all elders know this. I keep on reiterating that because sometimes when I meet people that have been listening to our podcast, and thank you so much for those of you that are following us and liking and subscribing, thank you so much. And some of them always ask me like, wait, do the elders know this? So that's why I keep saying, yes, the elders know this. And they've actually tested my theory or that theory by asking their mom and their dad or even their grandpa. And you're like, oh yeah, we know. And then the kids are just like, why are you so nonchalant about this then, right? So yes, the elders do know.
Yeah, they probably just don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, they don't want to jinx
because,
it.
If they bring it up, then they may have to do something.
Yeah.
about
Yeah,
it.
yes. They want to play, we always say, in other words, they want to play deaf and dumb so that hopefully it just goes away. Daniel's there, but I'm going to look at you and hopefully he goes away, right? So that's what a lot of the elders think. So by third generation, so fourth generation, may be a lot harder for a lot of them to have kids. So or a lot of them and then by the fifth generation, it's everything above harder, like intensify. And then by the sixth generation, or even later, no more such heavy, dark, negative energy that as a shaman or someone who is a little bit, more sensitive. And you don't have to be a shaman. If you're just a little bit more sensitive to the energy and you can feel it, okay, that is like you guys need to fix this, right? So as you can see, each generation, these are definitely signs that everybody, the elders especially, okay, they need to do something.
Wow.
Yeah, and then it's the Gitaho and like Yonto, different symptoms that people can feel. Right? It's different based off of like the energy, things like
I'm
that.
I'm laughing because normally negative energy ke kita hause ko yon doan ke yin yo chu yo or something something pay in that realm. That's why I think what yon doan.
So you're then you everyone that, or eventually everyone dies off, then who helps them?
Well, I think that's the plan. Because and then no one cares anymore. They start taking people. Oh, I should add that, right? And then they start taking people also. So once it starts being like, well, it depends on how severe the case is. But sometimes it's like, the next generation, say they start taking, but usually right around, the third, the fourth, especially the fifth or sixth, they start taking people. And then so normally it's the sons, but sometimes 因为人才跳，知道有钱人要。So so sometimes so usually take a not the high which means the smarter ones. Normally these are the first to go. And if your clan is like that, it means you need to fix ancestors. Because they need help. And come back. So they start pulling people. Because they're so, like that. That's another horror movie, right? That's another horror movie. Okay. So until because no one's doing anything about it.
Even though they don't know all the effects of your generations, they should know that, you should fix the ancestors. But, why would people still not want to fix their ancestors?
I find it that normally it's two reasons. Number one, normally because it is a pretty penny. Number two, no enough. Enough, or probably like your ancestors.
Okay.
So normally it falls down to all the reasons. The other people can have a lot of reasons too. Let's say I've met this, I've encountered this situation too, where like a Singzu sakona, but their parents and their grandparents got caught.
Oh, wow.
And so they're like, no, we're going to do it. And I said, well, so, I mean, I'm sorry, but I did say this. I guess my call because and we're more so no feel that you think but again the deaf mute thing where will overcome this, right? Even though all the scary things they're experiencing, so that too. Yeah.
Okay. Well, then, if you don't mind me asking, how much is it normally for turning to call to the ancestors?
So it depends on how heavy it is, and it depends on so this is just average prices. So it may be different.
Okay.
So if it's like recent, like let's say someone, died in a car accident or drowned, recent, sometimes it's not that much. Sometimes like, and I get this all the time. Some people's like, oh yeah, this thing the show my grandpa did it for like $100 or $20. I was like, because that's your grandpa.
Oh.
Like you got the hookup, right? So you can't be comparing like, oh, my grandpa did this for me for $20 and they're a complete stranger, right?
Yes.
So we have to compare apples to apples here. Okay, so with that being said, it ranges from $200 to about $600. Okay. That's average. Sometimes like some people may say 8, some people may say lower, but I find it that it's normally $200 to $600 per ancestor within 10 years or more recent, I would say. The cases are harder, let's say, maybe like during the wars or it may go up to like 500 to 1200.
Okay.
I mean, obviously if someone le tosu is going to be a lot easier than your grandpa and dad killing a whole village, right? So then it just depends. So like it's safe to say around their time that time, majority of the time, it is 1200. Yeah, because here's the thing about fixing your ancestors' home or call Gonza, okay? Is that happy. And just like humans, right? If our house like decorated and it like rises to greet us and we're really happy, then we're just happier overall, and then we're in a happy mood, so we want to give, we want to love, right? But you hate your house, then you're like angry and right? So that's why it's very important to call Kwanzaa or to fix the house, so that if your ancestors happy, it means that le protect so sometimes ito ancestors still need 1200 if not more.
Okay.
Yeah, well, that doesn't sound too bad. I mean, I know that some people may feel that that's too much money for this, but and multiple families do it, then the cost gets split, right? If you think about it, if including food and everything, it costs $3,000 for the whole thing. If 20 family joins, right? Then it's not even that much. It's $150 per family, right? And this is for good luck, good fortune for your kids and your grandkids and future generations.
Yeah, and I'm glad you pointed that out because unless it's like or brother right? So usually it's that family can fix and other clan members help out. But it becomes grandpa or great grandpa, you share the same okay, you're right. We actually split that cost. So it's not like one couple is 1200. It's like multiple families, I mean, I have seen cases where, that's possible, but usually or like let's split 1200 it's nothing. Yeah. Take big cost it's on 以前有点尤其这城市人了老得去做家的 because it's very hard. Hey, big cost it's on right. Most of that 1200 so this is a big call that will last like 8, 9, 10 generations, right? So then to me that is worth way more than that 1200. And, 1200 so that's our home mortgage now, right? We live in California. So this is a home mortgage and for that many generation to Zhona, it's absolutely worth it. Yeah.
Okay, so when it comes to kuzong or fixing the ancestors, is it better for everyone to kind of gongsha and join, or can one person just fix it for everyone?
Yeah, so very good question. No, it's always better that everybody joins and go on because you have to call no so it's a misunderstanding that it's the well, I don't need to fix it because my uncle fixed it already. So the problem is that what we do is all the people that go we actually go, hey, ancestors, these are the people that go so then we actually like fix those people, we fix them up spiritually, and then also or like we have a rope over around them and say, okay, so take away all the negative energy, all that stuff, bad luck from them, and then we'll call ancestors. So you got to well, guess what? You still have the negative energy, right? So then you got to go okay, well go uncle te go cousin the call you bitch what you'll see over the years is that call or probably right? And also the negative energy will be heavier for them. Because generally, not negative energy, no, look, call it the shima call, look, call it, that's no negative energy, no, ma to ima more fine than that, yo. You know, the calling not down, okay, now it's only 2 lines, let's say. Okay, now the, and your shoulder, to call it. And so, it's highly recommended that everybody go. So, tell you,
Okay, in regards to fixing the zone, I guess it's sounding more like name, right? So that sounds like it falls under then. But then can women still do that to like fix their ancestors?
So when you say their ancestors, I'm assuming the ancestors that they were born with?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
okay. Yeah, so normally the ancestors that you would pay more attention to or that you would fix your husband your ancestors so your ancestors it normally falls from like off or bong to like a two, right? The boys or the guys or you see la call it the shimani no bito de mikana sometimes there's like tu la ho nang nyo or not on sai ha cho lo ha cho lo cho tu ha cho yo or anything like that yo so they not get big yo zi nang bit wa call zi zong len de lo gong mong de lo being fight to cho sai cho vo lo theo because nie lo lo ying to de chi lo ying to ba le ten yo and technically I mean she blood lineage in your cho mong thia so nên nó bây giờ chỉ năng bé lòng lên tới là bố thổ mà nó là coi chỉ là only bố cho tu là tại có mong cho tu nó liệu là nó xưa đó mà nên nó bây giờ chỉ năng we're a lot more progressive and bé bỏ thôi thì cho mỗi năng là lo những chuyện nhà bé cho mình tu mình nhọ chỉ bé chẳng lên tới me speaking as nó bao nhiêu mong thia nó có một cho có một ô là có những hành mang thọ đó là thì then you can say your voucher go no it's optional they don't have to this my you can say your voucher no pull your low sa no it's okay because that's her dad too that's her grandpa also so no being all in the so the short answer is typically they don't, but can she help out? Yes, she can. Sometimes kumona, it's actually the daughter involved that yatun dao tau. Right? The shima ying chung yala clan though that wahola jail because it just doesn't make sense for the entire ilan kasu unless she's like not married, right? If she's not married, then yeah, go ahead. Okay. What's wrong with that? But if you're married, then it doesn't make sense because you're not from that clan anymore. Yeah. That's a good thing. We can escape. Because well, then it's not us anymore. Yeah. So then that's what happens also. Like some people come to me and go bought like or like more prominent. I would tell and I've done this like plenty of times by the way. I because actually she's a doctor now. But what happened was cut from the ancestors because got caught out. Even though they need to, they refuse to fix it. So then, and it was really hard for her. Opportunities, med school, and I kid you not, as soon as school cut, within 3 months, everything started working for her.
Oh, wow.
Right? And so what I did was I cut her so after so John Tsai from we're thinking like 20, 30 young, right? Sometimes I still do this for them also, yeah, because they still but luckily women they do.
Okay.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot to it each time. What was the longest that you've had? Like the longest time that
normally okay. But my longest, my record was over 8 hours.
Wow.
8
8 hours of warning.
我能是我都去看好玩播。
Oh my god.
如果看好玩播 then maybe like 9 hours. Yeah, so that family they had a lot of its own. First of all, I believe it was like 6 or something that had it fixed, and all of them were like like low zi low ya gong low yo sure and on and on and on, and more than so and like con do rồi but chỉ trong nó so. Remember in our beginning episodes I say I'm the last resort girl, right? So when they came to me I was just like, oh man, not just 1, not 2, not even just 3. Oh my goodness. So yeah, my record is 8 hours.
Well, I guess what we can learn from that is fix your zong, right?
Yes, so if you're listening to this episode, you have to name any sort of relative, family member that passed away before their time for any reason at all. Even if y'all like let's skydive, pass away, bungee jump, anything like that, or or even go up. Sometimes people don't think about this, but let's say that is still dying before their time. So and some people say, well, I'm pretty sure so then you call especially if you know. So you please fix your ancestors. We respect and worship our ancestors because they are family, right? And we care for them so that they can make our lives easier out here in the material world, right? Because they have great influence. And not only that, we're a war-torn people. So a lot of has been killed or disappeared during the war, so that we do need to fix them. And because they are unrested so low, and they'll come and everyone, right? So, and if you did already, kudos to you. You're ahead of the game. And so you and last but not least, we should not take ancestors lightly. Don't think that your ancestors affect you because they're very strong and have so much influence and they can harm you, and they can also make your life a whole lot harder than it really needs to be. So don't yell at them. Don't say mean things to them. And, they're like only parents or elders that they can discipline you. So when you really think about it, in reality, your ancestors, it's a family member asking you for help. So please give them help so that they can give you good luck and make life easier for you and also bring you all that life has to offer. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Yes. We hope you all enjoy this episode. Thank you so much.
All right.
Bye.
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 Thank you for listening to our podcast today. We hope that you have gained some insights that have changed your perspective and positively influenced you for the future. Be sure to check out our social media and like, follow, share, and subscribe. We also want to hear your thoughts, so please go to our Facebook or Instagram page and ask questions or post comments on there. And as always,
be kind and go make the world a better place.